Maybe I have yeah, 3 o'clock. Okay, now. So we have a 4 o'clock. We were going to meet at 4, weren't we? Let's make it 3:30. And then we go there to the photo. Agree? Let's do that.
Good. I can't join you then. I've got another meeting with our battery people.
Battery people.
Yeah. Sorry, I said.
Oh, it's a secret.
Yeah.
Okay, 3:30.
Yeah.
There's a
Perfect.
bike. You might want to look at the bike outside though. You might be interested in that.
You should
There's a
ride
Moulton-
it.
There's a Moulton locked outside. Have a quick look. There's something you'll immediately see interesting.
ride
in
it.
No, you can't. It's
Oh,
not
you
up
can't.
though.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I beg your
Oh,
pardon.
you have a second stand with.
No, there's just a bicycle
Practical.
outside. Yeah, locked up. So it's for the test riding.
So my name is Lorenzo Hovet. I'm from Frankfurt on the Main, and I represent here the folding bike group and blog on Facebook and Contacti, which is a similar kind of social network in Russia. So they are in St. Petersburg, and there is a big group of folding bikers in St. Petersburg. And what's your name? And maybe.
Okay, so I'm Stephen. This is John. We both work at Moulton Bicycles.
Thanks, thank
You
you.
can see
In London or
the
in
factory. Here is a photo. Well, this is the house where the designer of the bicycle lived, Alex Moulton. And there's a picture in black and white of the factory just down here, if you like.
It's kind of pedal assisted.
Yes, yeah. I've been riding it today. Very interesting. It's,
He went
it's
to-
quite powerful. Yeah. It goes up to 25 kilometers per hour, and then it cuts out.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's better than the other ones I've been on. Quite strong, quite tall.
which one? Which one?
And it's a Moulton with an electric assist.
I mean, which assistant?
No, it was.
Because I've got pen.
It's got it written.
I've got Pendix here. Pendix on Brompton. Here, Pendix on Brompton.
Is it on the track? Yeah. It's that one.
This one.
The same one.
But I sorted
And
things out.
there is a second one here from.
And you can test ride that if you want. If you want to test ride that. Yeah, I know. If you want to, ask Richard. Yeah,
Yes.
Richard. He'll let you test ride it. Yeah, see what you think.
Tomorrow it'll have to be. I've got meetings now.
So you told me
Have to be tomorrow.
before that,
See you tomorrow.
that
Thanks,
there
Ron.
is somebody in St. Petersburg who repairs Moultons and.
I must try and find out from the one who dealt with it was Richard.
But there is a mechanic who does that in St. Petersburg.
Yeah, there are Moulton friends all around the world. So our biggest markets are in the Far East. So there's 10 countries on the Pacific perimeter: Japan, Thailand, Korea.
More than in
Malaysia,
England.
Singapore. Well, these are countries, specific market countries. So England is one of maybe 30 countries we sell Moultons to. So we sell in America, we sell in Canada. But
In Germany, it's not so
Yeah,
common.
it's in Germany.
also.
Holger has been selling Moultons for 20 years here. So he probably. I did a tour of Germany and I visited 10 cities, and there was a Moulton dealer in each one of
Very
those
good,
cities.
very
Yeah.
good. And so it's becoming international. It's an old company,
It's
like
been
since the 60s.
It's
No,
been international for a long time because, for example, about 30 years ago, the Japanese became interested in Moulton bicycles, and they started selling 30 years ago, and they have been one of our best markets for the whole of that 30 years. And then inevitably, other countries close to Japan copy and follow suit. So, for example, Korea often.
oh, so
likes to
you've got
see-
some copies, yes.
No, they copy the sales methods,
Oh.
the promotion, the activities.
Because there is no copy
No, there's
actually.
no copy really.
It's too difficult to.
It's a complex design, and when a bicycle gets this complex, people understand that's why it costs a lot of money. If they're going to spend money on a copy, they'd probably prefer to spend a bit more and get the real thing. So it's like a Rolls Royce. You know, Rolls Royce.
It's a little bit like a Rolls Royce for bicycles. No?
Except better.
It's better than Rolls Royce.
Yeah, it's fitter for you.
It's better for
It's
you.
all more independent
It will
than
add 5 years to your life. The Rolls Royce will probably take 5 years off.
Yes.
at
The
least.
stress of the repayment.
At least.
But
And a lot of money too.
no, there's a lot of interest globally. So Moulton is a global family, a global network.
I see.
So, for example, Holger and Richard have been working with Moulton for how many years?
In Germany now.
25.
There you go, 25. So that's a little bit typical. And certainly in America, over 20 years, some of the records that John was talking about before were done with the help of our American friends, and there were.
So you are interested in speed too,
As
but
well, as well.
because
Really
it's a
efficiency,
riding
I would
bike. It's
say.
not a.
Well, I think we're interested in efficiency.
efficiency.
So, yes, in every sense. Of course, if it's fast, that's good. But for some people, it's not necessarily to be fast. You want to be safe and you want to feel good after riding. So if you've got suspension fore and aft, and not just vertical suspension, you've got rubber. You've got in every. So you've got.
I mean, in the
rubber
rear,
being
it's
used
not
under
vertical.
compression as well as.
In the rear, the suspension is not vertical.
Well, it's all round. You've got rubber working under shear as well as under compression.
I understand. And so you would say, in comparison to Brompton, which is also a British bike brand, it's more for less for commuting and less for urban cycling and more for longer rides.
What we generally say is, if you have a Moulton, you can do everything you need to do on it, so it's your choice. But what the Moulton will allow you to do is it will open up new possibilities. So, for example, the Brompton is a fantastic bike for the urban situation and for the shorter distances. But as soon as you want to do more than 5 kilometres, you are beginning to understand that you want to be on a different kind of a bike. So Alex has always put top components on the bikes. So you've got proper gear ratios, you're much more efficient in your riding. In fact, the quality of the ride, the performance of the ride will be the same as any big wheel road bike.
I understand.
Now, Brompton don't make that claim. They
No.
don't suggest that
It's
they're
not a
competing with a big wheel
competitor
road bike.
for.
But we do lay that claim where we can
I
say, listen,
understand.
if you're a serious cyclist and you have a collection of large wheel road bikes, add a Moulton to your collection because you'll be able to do the same that you can do on your big wheel road bike, but you'll be able to transport it more easily.
Also 28 inch.
No.
No. We're saying you don't need.
I mean,
that wheel size.
is it competing with 28?
It's competing with everything. There's nothing that you can do on any bike that you can't do on a Moulton.
I understand.
I mean, a mountain bike is specifically for some of the aggressive downhill
No,
stuff.
this is something
It's
different. This
yeah.
is something
But
you
anything
can't
you'll do
do.
on a normal standard road bike, you will do on a Moulton. And on a Moulton, you'll do it with a lot more comfort because that suspension is the element that road bikes don't have. So I have a friend that just did a big 700-kilometer ride on a gravel bike.
It's much more comfortable than on Brompton.
There's no
You would
comparison.
say. You would
Well,
say
but it's not just
for
Brompton.
the rear.
On
It's not just
a
Brompton.
Darhon or a turn bike,
Or
there's
any
no
bike.
comparison.
If you imagine any road bike or a gravel bike.
Oh, it's
now,
even more comfortable than any road
Well, of
bike.
course, because they don't have suspension. So imagine you're going 1,000 miles on your bike, or you're doing a transcontinental, and you've got daily 12-hour riding, 10-hour riding, and you've got no suspension. You will feel that at the end of every day. But if during 24 hours of riding, all the time you've got suspension here, it means your wrists aren't having pain, your hips, your knees, everything is suspended out. Because yes, it's far more comfortable on a long distance ride. So it's it's a favourite bike for many Audax riders, randonneur riders, people doing 1200s, Paris-Brest-Paris. Moulton is one of the best bikes because you're doing 1,200 kilometres in 3 days, and you can, at the end of that ride, you'll get off your bike and you'll feel fine. You won't have all of this, compression in your wrist and your knees and your back and your spine.
And how is it with folding?
Okay,
I mean,
so we don't fold, we separate. So
separate.
the story here is you split the bike down the middle, so this comes out, you split the cables, and there's a lock nut. You can see this lock nut here.
It looks complicated,
It's not
but
complicated, there's three parts to it. It takes 2 minutes to split up. And then what you do is you pull the bicycle into 2 halves, and then you lay one half, for example in this bag. We have a backpack. I can show you photos later on.
oh, it's
You
separate.
You put one half in here, and then in this other half, and then in the other half, you put the other half of the bike. You don't have to take the wheels off. You turn the handlebar around, put the handlebar down. That whole bicycle fits in here. So which means that if you say are travelling with 2 bicycles, you can put 2 in your car, no problem, on the back seat. Or this can go through an X-ray machine like that, or alternatively,
Oh, you have got a back.
It's a
Oh,
backpack.
I see.
so your hands are free. Hello.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
How are you guys doing? Yeah, nice to see you.
You're doing
That's
fine in
fine.
football.
Yeah. So far, so good. Yeah, a bit up and down.
And how do you fold this bag?
How do you fold it? Well, normally you've got a bicycle in it, but I do have a stuff sack.
No, I mean to carry with your bag if you go to the airport.
No, the idea, what you do is, this is for when you're going on a tour. So, for example, if you're if you're doing the Eurostar, you go to Paris,
Yes.
you leave your bag in the hotel, you do your circle, come back, and then you pack your bicycle up again. So you don't necessarily take this bag with you. I've done it, but you don't need to do that. It's like just being able to store your bicycles in your car when you go on a drive. But the idea isn't that you carry
Yes,
it with
but
you.
if you let's say I'm going from I live in Frankfurt, and I take the bus.
Yeah.
I took 3 buses,
Yeah.
and I need a bag in order to put it in the trunk of the bus. So I have to transport the bag.
Yeah. You can do that. So I have got a shoulder bag that I roll it up in, put it in, and you put it over your shoulder.
So you can. It's quite.
Yeah, you roll it up and it comes in a stuff sack like that,
It's
and you
good.
put it on your back. But you don't want to ride a whole journey with that. You ride to your hotel, leave that bag in the hotel, and then you do your touring. Yeah. So what it does is, with a Moulton, you always plan ahead. What am I doing? Where do I want to go? What am I trying to achieve? So to give you an example, I went to Japan to do a 5-day cycle tour of Shikoku.
Yes.
And I was planning to leave this bag in the hotel, as I have just said to you. But actually, what I did in the end, I carried it the whole way. It doesn't. You can do it if you want. It's very light.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's light
but,
and it's
But I
okay.
wouldn't plan it. I would prefer to do a circuit. So when you start doing trips, cycle trips, instead of doing A to B, you do circles and then come back again and then pick up your stuff. It's easy. It's just forward planning.
Forward
But
planning.
the reason that is nice, for example, if you have to go to a taxi, for example, some countries, high-speed trains, you cannot take a bicycle on. Like Korea.
Yes, I know.
Yeah,
So you need a
Korea,
bag.
Japan, you need a bag.
Here too.
So the perfect thing here is if
For
you've
the
got a bag-
fast train,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you cannot.
Well, this takes all that problem away. And the other thing that's lovely is you can get a small taxi, 2 people, 2 bicycles. Taxi driver doesn't even know he's got bicycles. So perfect.
It's a little longer than a normal
I've
luggage.
got 2 bicycles, 2 people, all our backpacks and everything, and a taxi driver in a mini taxi in Japan.
Mini taxi in
Yeah,
Japan.
no problem. So you can basically, once I saw that, you can do it anytime. But the nice thing about this bag as well is, for example, if you ever have to ask a friend, can you take me to the train station, or can you help me out? Then when you've got it in there, their car isn't going to get damaged, nor is the bike. It's easy. But if you've got a big wheel road bike, and you take
Of course.
then you need a rack and all this stuff. So, yeah.
So and yet maybe the question.
Sorry?
The
Sorry.
question about yes, electric drive. Can you say something about it?
So yes, there is. We are expert in building bicycles. So we love to build bicycles, and we've been doing it for over 50 years, nearly 55 years. But we are not expert in electrification, in battery technology.
Like the car industry, the same.
But there are experts out there that have come up with solutions that are very good for us.
And what did you choose?
So
Or you
what we
didn't-
recommend is that people talk to their local dealer, ask them for their advice. But for example, our German dealer has-
What do you recommend?
Well, I would recommend that people go to their local dealer and find out what electric solution.
But
do
would you
like.
recommend? Did you see my bike
I
with?
did, yeah. So we like that one as well, and our German distributor is using that system. But for example, what that
You know
means-
Pendix
Yes,
now?
I do,
You
I
know
do, yeah,
Pendix?
yeah. I've just ridden one today.
It's possible to.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and I've been riding it today, and it works perfectly. But we like to keep a separation between us and the bicycles and the electric assist, because there will be warranty issues and maintenance and returns, and we want. The
So you're
professionals
not
to deal
going
with that.
to propose
What we will
an
always do.
e-drive model.
Yeah, we will, but we will do it through our distributors and dealers, because they know the local laws, the local ordinances.
They've got the experience.
They've got the experience, and they understand the legal aspects. And so
When are
they
you going
cover
to start in Germany, for example? Or
It's already happening.
It's happening.
It's happening already. It happens. We've got 3 different models of electric assist that already exist. One in Israel, one in the
You don't know
UK.
which ones. You don't
Yes,
know.
Zexus in Israel, and then Arc system in England. So, but again, there's a lot of offering of electric assist Moultons.
Would it be easier in the front hub?
Personally, you're asking me personally, I prefer it in the crank, this area.
Me too.
Where there's more strength.
Me too.
So that's my personal
But
preference.
it's technically possible. Also,
It's technically possible. But again,
because
this
you
is-
don't have to force. So
this
there's
is
not a
why
problem with
We
folding.
don't over-obsess about the electric issue. Yes, there are electric solutions. Find out what solution works best for you, and then pursue that with somebody that's qualified to put it on your bike.
What is the weight? The average weight?
Our lightest bike is 8.9 kilos, and some of our bikes go up to about 11 kilos. But they're all steel. But 8.9 kilos is a good weight for a steel
You don't
bike.
want to use carbon or something like that.
Steel means that if you're in the middle of India, middle of China, if you're cycling a bicycle around the world,
You can repair.
fix it anywhere. Carbon is of no interest, particularly personally to me, because if I break it, I'm in the middle of Paris, I throw it away. And that's the end of your holiday. That's an expensive flight home and the end of an experience.
And maybe the end of your
Oh, that as well. Yeah,
Of your
if you
purse,
have-
of
but
your
then-
money,
Yeah, of course. So carbon is of interest, but it can't be fixed. And our bicycles, if they're anything, they are a practical solution. So you're on steel. Some of our bikes are in stainless steel, which means they resist the weather very well.
or
Salt
some
water.
are stainless steel,
Yeah,
some
yeah.
not.
About a third of them are stainless steel. They're more expensive, but a 10-year-old bike you can polish. It looks brand new.
Okay, and what's the price of a stainless steel bike? Let's say
I generally
in
talk
average
about the range of the price. The prices of the bicycles go from about
in
1,000,
euros. In euros,
about 1,500 euros, 1,500 euros,
not much.
up to, and then Rolex land. So you can be spending 10,000, 15,000 euros. So, but we have bicycles at every price point between 1,000 and 18,000.
18,000.
So there's a beautiful bike you can buy for 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. So there's a bicycle for
For example, how would you compare Bike Friday with Moulton? Because Bike Friday
We don't
in
spend-
Oregon,
So to give you an example, we don't spend our lives
because it's quite expensive.
So we don't spend our lives comparing ourselves to anybody. We were the first small wheel bike. So every other bike has come along and seen, do we like small wheels? So people like Darpon, Turn, Bike Friday, they've all been inspired by the Moulton bicycle. And
I suppose that Bike Friday was inspired from
of course.
Moulton.
And if they weren't inspired by Moulton, they were inspired by Brompton or by
Yes.
Darpon or whatever. It doesn't really matter, but we are convinced that we offer a top quality product for the market. We have a fan base and we have the friends of the fans that are brought into the family, the Moulton family. So we don't really need to keep looking and observing what the competition are doing. But I do believe that they tend to look at us. But we're very good friends, for example, with Brompton. They visit us. They're people that recognise the depth, if you like, of inspiration. So Andrew Ritchie, who was the Brompton designer, he was a friend of Alex Moulton.
It's not Moulton.
Sorry, Brompton.
It's not Moulton, the designer.
Andrew,
Yes, Alex
no,
Moulton.
Alex Moulton
Yeah, but
and
I'm talking
designer,
about Andrew Ritchie
is
is Brompton.
designed the Brompton bike.
Oh, sorry.
So Andrew Ritchie is the designer of the Brompton.
It's a
He
friend
was
of
a friend of Alex Moulton, and he would come to the factory.
So he came later. So maybe
Yeah, of
he
A lot later,
he
yes.
inspired himself
Of course,
to.
yeah, he
from
said so.
Moulton.
Moulton inspired it, yes.
And so,
understand.
and that's a nice story. I think he wanted to know, for example, he respectfully asked Alex, are you thinking of doing a folding bike? Well, we didn't want to do a folding bike because we did not want to compromise the strength of the frame. So
This is the most important point.
yeah.
No?
So Alex Moulton designed a bicycle that splits in the middle, but if you have a fixed frame, we have one fixed frame here, the black one here, that doesn't separate.
Oh,
So
you
this-
also have a fixed
We have
frame.
a fixed frame. So the fixed frames and the separable frames are both as strong as each other. Okay,
That is the same geometry.
same geometry, but the strength is the same. So the-
And you need so many how do you call them bars or because of the tubes, because of the stability.
that is one of our best and biggest interest groups are architects, designers and engineers.
Oh.
Because as soon as they see that, they understand the geometry, they understand the mechanics of what's going on, and they immediately, it makes them click and they go, I can see triangulation, I can see what's going on here. That's an extremely efficient and strong structure, and built into a bicycle. So they immediately see the cross, the X, they see the cross hatching in the zigzag work, and they just go,
Because
Stop.
melding is quite complicated.
Sorry?
You would say welding,
Welding.
welding,
Brazing.
brazing.
Yeah. So it's a complex, it's a very highly skilled job, which is reflected in the price as well.
It's
So very strong.
a robot makes it, or it's not no
We'll
robot.
have by hand. You can come and visit the factory.
English robot.
Yeah.
It's English kind of robot, I think.
No, it's all made by hand, and in effect, they are bespoke bikes.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I'm finished.
That's great.
Thank you very much.
Merci bien.
Bye.
À la prochaine.
I've got here the name of the guy in St.
Yes.
Petersburg. He's
Oh,
the,
nice.
the Russian guy that came over here. Do you know him?
No, but I'm going to make extra photograph.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And